Some of you might say, well, you know, what about all these brilliant companies like Apple Computer? Aren't they just really smart people that hang out on their own and kind of come up with brilliant ideas? Okay, and any of you own or use any Apple devices? Any of you? Okay. And you use them because they're cool, intuitive, kind of creative? Yes. And we kind of revere Apple. They had a little bit of a bump recently in which some of the analysts suggested that they were no longer being as creative as they could because their new phone, the main feature of their new phone was it came in 2 versions and 5 really cool colors. Not a technological breakthrough. But we still tend to think of these guys as brilliant. Yet I'd suggest that in important ways, their success is absolutely tied to strangers. Let's take as an example the iPod, which was really their kind of breakthrough product that really created this whole new category. And so they created this really kind of amazing kind of music player. And so I have lots of versions of Apple products. I kind of adore all their stuff. So I have music on here. It's a music player. I have somewhere here buried my small iPod Nano, and I use this when I jog or whatever, when I'm out. And so they created really cool products. But imagine this, that their products aren't as original as we'd like to think, because let me get organized here to suggest to you the following. Don't be in awe. I know this is an awesome product. Okay. It's 1979, and as I walk across the Diag, the main part of the campus at the University of Michigan, I am the coolest person on earth. I know you find it hard to believe that I could be the coolest person on earth. I know that. Keep it to yourself. Okay. And I'm the coolest person on earth because unlike all of the other people there, I have entertainment that is portable. I am the proud possessor of a Sony Walkperson, a marvel of 1979 technology. For the first time ever, the brilliant folks at Sony, a Japanese company, had figured out how to make entertainment go wherever I chose to go. And if I was open to listening to music in bunches of 12 songs at a time, the number found on a cassette, I was a party waiting to happen. And if I had room in my backpack, or a friend had a purse or something like that, we could take any multiple of 12 songs with us. And if we had a splitter, we could make the sound go everywhere. I don't know if they had splitters then. Or I could simply share an earphone and we wouldn't have stereo, but we'd have music. And so Sony invented the world of portable music. And they sold roughly 500 million Walkmen, Walkwomen, Walkpeople, these guys here, to a world that couldn't get enough of them. And they sold, 1.5 billion sets of headphones, because you lose them, you break them, whatever the case is. They owned the world of people's attention. And yet today, how many of you use a Sony portable music player? One of you. Do you use the cassette version? Awesome. No, I think that's cool. And when it's time to upgrade, I think on eBay there's a robust market for these. No, but I should be honest with you. I use all the Apple stuff, but I have 5 of these actually. I guess I'm what you might consider a Walkman hoarder. But anyway. If you need parts, just call me. Okay. This actually was the really coolest one because this one claimed to be waterproof for about 20 seconds. I thought it would solve my solution. It's a little bit clunky. Could you swim and listen to music? Not exactly, but that's okay. I was not their target market for that. Okay. So they invented it, but now we have only one person here who's using it, so they kind of missed the boat, okay? So Apple kind of became the big winner in all of this. And so if I took this guy off, which is sad because it's also a fashion statement, and this could have 12 songs, and I attached it to this guy here and decided wherever I would want to go, I could use this. This giant item holds 3,200 songs. Now you may ask, how do I know 3,200 songs? Good question. I'll get back to you on that one. But anyway, so the folks at Apple who created amazing products didn't invent personalized music. They simply made it better. They simply took an idea that Sony had invented but dropped the ball on and saw a huge opportunity in a world in which it was going to be even more important than at the time that Sony pioneered the idea. In fact, it's kind of hard to walk through any town and not see most young people attached to Apple devices and earphones, which makes you wonder how they'll ever lift their heads up and talk to strangers. But I guess it's okay to listen to the same song 4,000 times rather than make a new friend, but that's okay. But Apple didn't even invent the fundamental technology that's in this. That technology, the platform for it, is MP3 technology, and that was invented in 1986 by two German engineers. They created a patent for a technology that would drive most of the devices we listen to. So they didn't invent the idea, and they didn't invent the technology behind it, and they became the big winners. And I would argue the heart of Apple and its music capability is what we might think of as an ecosystem that includes the iTunes Store. And how many of you have shopped at the iTunes Store? How many of you like the iTunes Store? So some of you have shopped there and don't like it. Okay, well, but what the iTunes Store decided to be was the largest repository of content, music, movies, on the planet. Now, is that a novel idea? Not exactly. It's about a 2,300-year-old idea. Because the idea for creating a large repository of content was invented by the Egyptians 2,300 years ago in the Great Library in Alexandria. At its time, the world's largest repository of content anywhere in the world. At its time, imagine this, they had over 400,000 documents 2,300 years ago, all on parchment, all written by hand, and they had a pretty weak music collection. But they invented the notion that it's cool to bring all that we know as humans and all of our content together. And I'd argue that that's a fundamental piece of what Apple kind of did as well, was simply suggest that we'll bring that idea back. And so even the most amazingly innovative companies rely for their success on the ideas of strangers. That idea back. And so even the most amazingly innovative companies rely for their success on the ideas of strangers.